Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever episode of Long Range Perfection. So when I had some video ideas and I wanted to look at what video to do first, I decided on this video because I think this is the most important video of the channel. The channel is based upon budget performance. Okay, so let's talk about this rifle. Let's talk about how you can get a budget build that can easily reach out to 7, 8, 9, even a kilometer that I have done with this rifle. Let's get into the live action. So when we talk about long range, people define long range as different characteristics. For some people, 500 meters is long range. What I'm specifically focused on here is the people defining long range as anything between, let's say, 5 to 700 meters comfortably. If you want to stretch the legs, we can go to about a kilometer. A kilometer is up until where I've shot this rifle, and I can easily testify that this rifle can shoot 8 by 10 inch gong. You can go look at my YouTube shorts at a kilometer without any issues. So the first question is, how do I build a rifle that can shoot groups like these or have a cold bore shot like this and still not break the bank? So in my opinion, there is certain things that you do have to spend on, sadly, but this is the cheapest options in that kind of spending bracket. So let's start off with the action. The action is the most important thing. This is a Hoa 1500 action. This action is barreled in 6.5 Creedmoor. I had a lot of debating. Do I want to go 300 Win Mag? Do I want to go 6.5 Creedmoor? But at the end of the day, I went with this action because it is, from a precision standpoint, the cheapest to reload, the least barrel burner, and it is the most tested caliber at this stage for reaching out long distances. So I went with this caliber. I bought the rifle and action at Cam Dix Wapens in Johannesburg. I'll put a link to them in the description. I bought this rifle there, the barreled action, and it set me back. It was on a special $7,100. Okay, so the next important thing, obviously, if we look at from the action upwards, that is one of the key elements for you to hit targets beyond 4, 5, 600 meters. So I would say a very important thing is a solid steel Picatinny rail. This is a 20 MOA rail. There's various makes you get from APW, you get from Vortex, all of these different companies. Any sort of rail will do, as long as it's steel and a one-piece rail. A one-piece rail just bridges the action and keeps everything neat and tight there. And that's the rail and scope rings. These are one steel scope rings, 30 millimeter rings, and the rail and scope ring set me back 2,500. The next important aspect for reaching out long distances, I would say, is your glass. You always hear people saying you have to spend twice the amount of glass than you did on your rifle. So I got this action for 7,100. You can look at about 10,000 realistic price. I'm not going to spend 20,000 bucks on a scope. I'm very sorry, but to spend 20,000 bucks on this small thing, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit well with me. So after much deliberation and much consideration, I went and bought myself an Element Optics Helix. So this is most probably for me the most impressive thing on this rifle. This scope set me back 8,995 Rand. This is amazing to get this level of performance for this cheap of a price tag. I mean, for the international viewers, you can get this scope for under $500. It's absolutely amazing. So I had the scope since day one on the rifle. I've reached out, like I said, to a kilometer and back. I dial, I don't hold with my crosshair. Its tracking is absolutely on point. Clarity is absolutely on point. So I went with the scope. We can round it up to about 9,000 Rand at the end of the day. And I've never looked back. I've never looked at the other scope. I've looked through Vortex Viper PSD Gen 2s. They don't have the clarity of this. I've looked through HST Vipers. They don't have the clarity. It's just, I've looked through Strike Eagles. Don't have the clarity. This is just an absolutely amazing scope. So next on the agenda, and I think this is the last thing from a rifle standpoint that's quite important for you for long range, is a proper chassis system. So I bought the barreled action of this rifle. Barreled action meaning the barrel and just the action with the trigger. I bought this barreled action without a stock. The synthetic stocks that comes with the Howas is notoriously bad. It has a bad reputation. That's it. So I got the chassis from AIM Engineering. This was once again the cheapest alright option there was. Also, I'll put a link in the description to them. I got this chassis system from AIM Engineering, and once again, it's one of those things that I bought that I've never looked back on, because it has all adjustable. So if you are looking at buying something like this and you don't necessarily want to go with this, most important things that I would say is adjustable length of pull, adjustable butt pad up and down, and adjustable cheek rest is an absolute must. The most important thing you need to look for in the chassis system lies here in the front. So from where the action tightens up until where your bipod will go. This is the most important thing. I've shot with a GRS Berserk before. I've shot with many stocks and chassis systems before. And this is the most stable for me, because this is one billet piece of aluminium. This chassis gets machined 100% from a billet piece aluminium. And that means when you put this rifle down, the chassis, the rifle, the scope, everything sits dead still. It eliminates the movements, the microscopic movements that you make from your shoulder, from breathing, from your heartbeat. It eliminates those movements because the chassis system keeps the rifle so still and well set. Obviously you don't have to bed because it bolts up right into aluminium. So a chassis system is definitely a very important part, and this chassis set me back 7,000 Rand. So at this point you should have a rifle that can reach out with a proper load, that can reach out to distances of a kilometer. I have a few extra things on the rifle that just makes life easier and makes it more enjoyable to shoot. Things like a bipod. Please, you do not have to buy a 7,000 Rand bipod. Okay, it's not necessary. I understand that people put effort into developing bipods and getting all the development correct. I do understand that. But for me, paying 7, 8, 9, 10, I've seen bipods, F-class bipods going for 12 to 15,000 Rand. That is not justifiable. So this bipod that I have on, I tried an Accutac bipod, which is a pellet bipod. It worked wonderful. Most probably the best bipod I've ever had. And this is just a cheap come in a brown box bipod, you can buy for $700. Okay, so at the left hand side here, we'll have the necessary price, and then on the right hand side we'll have the total price that I would think, if you want to replicate the setup, will be necessary. So next up on the list is my scope level. I bought this scope level for $150 off of Gun Africa, a South African gun website. Very easy. You don't have to have fancy stuff. Once again, this thing works. Another thing that I never look back on is this clamp on bolt knob here. So when you lie behind the rifle and you want to re-rack that round very quickly for a follow-up shot maybe, or you just want to have that good feel of the bolt, that good being in control feel, I would suggest just get a clamp on bipod. You don't have to cut your bolt knob. You can take it to a gunsmith and they can machine it off and cut it and screw on a bolt knob. This is a clamp-on bolt knob, so it goes over the ball of the bolt. You tighten it down. Once again, I bought it from AIM Engineering. Like I said, the link is below. You can go check them out. The last thing that really, and the bolt knob was 350 Rand. The last thing that really made a difference for me at this gun and made it for me enjoyable to shoot, even more so than necessary or than normal, is the silencer. So this silencer I got from Gun Warrior in Centurion. Very nice people. I'll put the link to their website below. This is the Warrior Fatty brake with the barrel tuner on the front. Barrel tuners, will they do they work? That's a different video that's coming. So this silencer made the world difference. Number one, it took away a bunch of recoil. Even though it's just a little 6.5, it does recoil to the point where at 600 meters you can't track your own shots because it recoils off of the target. With the silencer on, I can see and track my own shots at 300 meters because the scope stays dead on the target and the recoil doesn't take it off. Number two, the sound. The sound dampening on this is absolutely bonkers. It's amazing. The amount of noise reduction that this silencer provides is absolutely phenomenal. I went from a point where I had to shoot with earmuffs. It felt like someone jabbed a nail into your ear if you forgot to put on earmuffs, to at this point how this rifle is, I shoot without earmuffs. I shoot with no hearing protection. You should not do that, by the way. But I can shoot with no hearing protection without any issues. My ears don't get sore. I can hear my impacts, so it's a very good investment. It is quite pricey, but at the end of the day, the silencer and barrel threading will, with the tuner brake at the front, will set you back about 4,000 Rand. So that is the total, and I felt like I had to make this video because I see people doing budget build videos on YouTube that still comes out to 60, 70,000 Rand. That is not a budget build. I'm very sorry. This is a budget build, the cheapest of the cheapest. I'm not sponsored in any way by none of these companies. It would be amazing though, but I'm not sponsored in any way from any of these companies. But still, this is the cheapest way for you to reach out to 1,000 yards, 1,000 meters, doesn't matter, with a reliable and accurate rifle. So guys, I thank you so much for joining in on our first video, and if you have any questions, please pop them below for me in the comments. And if you don't agree with me, I'm very sorry. That's just my opinion. So I thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.